did you at least see any parties or been to his parties? The infamous. I knew him before he was Diddy. I had known him for a long time. When I first
used to have crates when I was at my after parties and stuff. Also, when they were at thong parties. So I'm performing, and I'm just really excited. I'm trying to give it my all, and I bust my ass in front of like 20,000. I'm talking about like when you fall flat on your back. When I tried to do to play it off, you know how when you fall, you act like there ain't nobody seeing. You just keep on rocking. But it was like I was embarrassed for like weeks. Look, it only truly is about the Benjamin.
Right away, this story doesn't start with rumors from the outside. It starts with people who say they were around before the fame got too polished, before the brands got too big, and before every move was controlled by cameras and PR. That's what makes this opening feel different. You hear old memories, after-party talk, celebrity circles, and then suddenly the tone shifts into humiliation, a public fall, a packed crowd, and that kind of embarrassment that stays with you long after the lights go off. And in hip-hop, those early moments matter because they show how fame can look glamorous from the outside while still being messy, painful, and unpredictable behind the scenes.
But did you at least see any parties or been to his parties? The infamous Diddy parties that everybody... I've been to the parties, but like I said, I don't know. They select you. You're selective. Be more descriptive.
For selective, you have to fit a certain description, or you have to fit a certain mannerism for you to be led down that hallway with the door. And y'all know what college I'm talking about. I took a few girls to his spot. You understand? So, the same woman that I worked for, she had to take, two girls had to go to Mike Tyson on 57th Street. Mike Tyson had a condominium down, I think it was 57th Street. And I took the two girls down there. This was low respecting me as a lyricist and as a writer. So, and that's what kept me up there from...
Now, the conversation starts moving into the part people always whisper about the private side of celebrity parties. Not the red carpet version, not the champagne photo version, but the alleged door-behind-the-door culture where access was not automatic. In those circles, being famous did not always mean you got invited everywhere. People claimed there were levels, filters, and quiet decisions being made before anyone was brought deeper inside. And that is where the tension builds, because when someone says people were selected, the audience immediately wants to know, selected for what, by who, and why some people were allowed closer while others were kept outside.
Parties or been to his parties, the infamous Diddy parties that everybody... I've been to the parties, but like I said, I don't know. They select you. You're selective. Be more descriptive. Be more selective. You have to fit a certain description.
You have to fit a certain mannerism for you to be led down that hallway with the door. Whoa, hold on. Yo, don't do that. I'm giving it to you real. You have to fit a certain description, a certain mannerism, a body type, a type of mannerism, a type of mentality for you to get, hold on, led down that hallway. Just to my head, just ready, time out. Wait a minute, time out. What I want to ask you at that time, why? Why am I being excluded from this? That didn't like raise your intentions of that. Me being young and at that time, I just wanted to be famous and I wanted to be a superstar off a rap. You didn't want to be at those parties. Listen now, hold on.
This is where the story starts. Connecting different worlds together. You have music industry names, nightlife figures, athletes, street connections, and old New York energy all overlapping in the same conversation. Back then, there was no viral clip waiting to expose every room. There was no live stream, no instant thread, no comment section putting pressure on everybody involved. So if someone was moving through those circles, they were seeing a version of celebrity culture most fans never had access to. And once Mike Tyson's name enters the story, the scale changes, because now it's not just about rap parties anymore. It becomes a window into how powerful people from different lanes were crossing paths long before the public knew what was really going on.
Yeah, but you wanted to know. You would go on the internet, and he's probably not looking. It's not out like it is now. It was still taboo. Nobody was speaking on it. Yeah, you couldn't speak on it. You didn't have a network of people that could huddle up and talk about it. Yeah, that network of people outweighed yours by far. Like, you would just
sit to a little corner or something. I'm talking about who's this and who's that. Yeah, you would run into a brick wall because, and it would be Those on the other side, yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Let me keep it a bean with you. The way they attack you is through photo shoots and video shoots. They send in the stylist. If you're getting your hair braided, one of those to a guy's might be not the way you think they should be. And if you're showing them the most love and gippity yappity with them, that's the battlefield. That's where they see, oh, he had a lot of rap for the guy. Yeah, then over here, right. Ah, he's what up? All right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, it's what I'm saying. Let me see who it is. Relax. I wear my pants off my ass. I wear jerseys. I smoke weed all day. I'm bringing the house. He's not.
The more this conversation continues, the more it stops sounding like regular party talk and starts sounding like a system. Allegedly, image mattered. Energy mattered. How somebody acted around certain people mattered. And in entertainment, that kind of silent evaluation can be dangerous because nobody tells you the rules directly, but everybody expects you to understand one wrong move, one wrong reaction, one wrong person watching you too closely. And suddenly people start deciding what kind of person they think you are. That is the darker side of fame most fans do not see, not just the music, the videos, or the money, but the hidden social game behind who gets accepted, who gets tested, and who gets left outside.
Hey, it wasn't like that. No, man, see, who out the group of that, who y'all was with, was kind of, I don't know. Tell me about the time that you took 2 girls to 57th Street for Mike Tyson. You
know that story. Back in the day, I used to work for the Harlem Madam. The Harlem Madam was this young lady who would go to clubs and girls who was looking to make extra money but be an escort. She would hire them to do work for them. So, this one particular time, I had actually, when KG from Naughty by Nature, brother, had came home from college, and y'all know what college I'm talking about. I took a few girls to his party. You understand? So, the same woman that I worked for,
Then the story takes a heavier turn, because now we are not just talking about celebrity access, we are talking about the people who allegedly helped move others through those environments. The nightlife world has always had a side that operates away from cameras. Promoters, handlers, adult companions, private calls, quick arrangements, and people who knew exactly which rooms to enter and which names carried weight. When someone brings up working around that kind of scene in the 90s, it paints a picture of a time where fame, money, and underground business were often closer than the public wanted to believe. And once a name like Tyson is attached to the location, the story becomes even more intense because everyone understands the kind of star power he had in that era.
Man, so I wanted them to, I had this Tyson shirt in my truck and I wanted them to sign it, but I'm like, yo, that shouldn't be professional. And then like that, but I was a fan of Mike Tyson. I had
a situation in a club before when he was trying to talk to a girl named April. That April was my friend. I was with her. So then, I knew of Mike Tyson, but this is way before Zip had got involved with him. So I'm sitting there and I take the 2 girls down there. So they go upstairs and everything. I wanted so bad to tell her, yo, give me his autograph. Give me Tyson autograph. You understand? Because like I told you, this one Tyson was the man. Everybody, you represented New York to the fullest. So, they go upstairs. So it was about 15, 20 minutes later, the one girl came back downstairs. And I said, what happened? She was like, nothing. I said, yo, I thought he wanted 2 girls. I said, I knew he couldn't have 2 girls. Why he wanted 2 girls? He had other people up there. She didn't know it was just him. And I was like, yeah. I said, what happened? She said, he gave each one of us $1,500. And he said, yo, Gene, he just pulled into that girl like crazy, like an animal. I was like, yeah. He said, yo. And I know this is a family program, and I know some children may be watching. He said, I wasn't going to let him do my she was doing the So I told him I wasn't feeling good, and I gave him his money back. And I was leaving. He said, "Nah, just keep $1,000 and thank you." You understand? He gave the other $500 to the girl. And so I said, we stayed in the car waiting for the girl to come right down. She came down. After an hour and a half was up, I was like, oh.
This part is uncomfortable because it moves from industry gossip into a personal account of what allegedly happened after the doors closed. And that is why the tone has to be handled carefully. These are claims from a speaker, recalling an old private situation, not a court-certified scene being replayed for the audience. But even with that caution, the story still carries weight because it shows how quickly a glamorous setup can turn disturbing. One person waits outside, another comes back shaken. Money changes hands, and suddenly, the entire night feels different. That is the pattern people keep pointing to in these old stories. The public saw celebrities living like kings, while behind the scenes, some people claim the reality was far more chaotic.
And one of the things that kind of stuck out to me was Roger said that Diddy felt like money can get him out of anything. What's your thoughts on that? Ain't that?
Ain't that more than half the millionaires in this world? Ain't that more than half the people who got it? Yo, listen to me, bro. You save your money will save you. And this guy just thought that he could do certain things and either buy his way out of that if he had to. And he has done that on numerous of times, buying his way out of some things. But then again, when his people need money who were around him and work for him, he ain't got it for him. So, it's funny. I mean, you can even say he kind of...
Now, the conversation shifts from old party stories to the bigger question that has followed this entire case. What happens when money, fame, and legal pressure all collide? In hip-hop, wealth is often presented like armor. The bigger the bank account, the better the lawyers, the louder the public relations machine, and the easier it can look to survive a scandal. But this situation became more complicated than just rich versus broke. Federal prosecutors brought serious allegations. Combs denied wrongdoing, and the final verdict was mixed. Some of the biggest charges did not stick, while other counts did. That is why this moment hits hard. It raises the question of whether power protects people, or whether power simply makes the fall more public when the protection starts cracking.
Ricos and all that other wild stuff, not guilty, man. So, I mean, he kind of did again. Brother, they ate up before. He
went to trial, man. Come on, bruh. And I've said this 1,000 times to probably 1,001 people. Your main two charges that you talk about in court, you don't even charge him with. Come on, Cam. The gun charge. Right. They found the guns at his house when they had a proper warrant, and they never got charged. As weird as a...
This is where the legal discussion gets messy, because people watching from the outside often expect a case to move in a straight line. They hear about raids, reports, seized items, allegations, and headlines. Then they expect every shocking detail to appear as a charge in court. But real federal cases do not always work that way. Prosecutors decide what they believe they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Defense teams attack the weak spots, and juries separate disturbing testimony from criminal liability. So when speakers question why certain expected charges did not appear or did not land, that skepticism makes sense from a viewer's perspective. But legally, it also shows how different public perception can be from what actually survives inside a courtroom.
What had him? Nobody carries that and wrapped up in certain things. Come on, bruh. If you was using Baby R, you ain't gotta carry it with you. Yo, run to Walgreens, give me 10 cases of Baby R. Get all the Baby R that will...
Walgreens. That Baby R had some kind of chemical in it that helped you seduce the person and make them feel free or something like that. More business. They were saying it was some kind of drug that was in that Baby R. Not only that, he didn't get charged with the physical drugs that they could see, the pink cocaine, all this other So, with the feds and me working around him and working with him, And when I mean working with him, me being a parole officer, you know what I'm saying, dealing in federal cases and stuff like that, they didn't charge him because, one, brother, I swear, it was a deal made way before they got to court. Because that's in New York City. I'm going to give you 10 years. You get 5 to 10 years automatically. If you meet it in feds, I'm talking about for some time now. Let me begin with you. The docuseries is entitled Sean Combs, The Reckoning. How is this one different from the others that have been out there? Well, I think that the biggest marker of what makes this film or the series different is how much time we took into putting into the making of the film, doing our due diligence to get the right voices, to the table, this is a series that spans over 30 years, so just by covering that much time, it took a lot of time for us to dig in and to kind of make sense of this story and to put this timeline together. Yeah, no.
At this point, the story moves into the documentary itself, and that changes everything. Because now the focus is not only what happened, but who gets to shape the version people remember. A docuseries can become powerful because it takes years of allegations, interviews, footage, lawsuits, denials, and trial moments, then compresses all of that into a clean narrative the public can follow. But that also creates pressure. What gets included? What gets cut? Who gets believed? Who refuses to speak? And when the filmmakers say they had footage from the days before the arrest, it adds another layer, because viewers are no longer just hearing about a public figure, they are watching someone trying to manage a crisis in real time.
Well, I just want to make really hit television. I like the idea of it being exciting, and I picked this project. I started working on it about 5 months before I found Alex. And I know that she has the artistic integrity.
Then it would take to make it a great project, and there's the Quincy Jones era of production is find me that bass player, because he's the baddest, man, out there Chicago, and find me that keyboardist, and fly them in from Miami, and we put them in at the greatest jam session they ever heard, and it just always resulted in great hit music. And I take that concept into television production. You take that into everything you do, sirs. You really do, and it really comes through, and appreciate that about you. As I said, never before seen footage of the days leading up to his arrest. Can you just talk a little bit about it? Was there anything that surprised you from that footage? The footage, well, I think it's rare to find someone who's being, talked about all over the country. All eyes were on him, so to speak. And it was really interesting to see his last days of freedom, and what was sort of important to him. Obviously, there's phone calls with his attorneys, with his team. It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his that brand presence. He has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public, in the days leading up to his arrest and indictment. So that was interesting. It was also just interesting to see how laid back he was at times. But, the footage also, in the footage we also see how he's getting incoming, lawsuits are dropping, and to get his real-time perspective on that was sort of jaw-dropping when we first got our eyes up. That was everything that surprised you when you were watching the footage. That didn't surprise me at all. Because you've known a movement. Yeah. Those behaviors, and I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it. Yeah, I don't want to ask about that, because how did you go about getting the footage? And do you know the intent of the videographer? Why this person took she's a journalist, right? Yeah. So she's not going to reveal her sources, so you don't have to reveal that. That's what not going to reveal my sources, but I think.
And that is why the final part of this conversation lands the way it does. The real battle is not only over footage, it is over legacy. In hip-hop, people can spend decades building an image, but one documentary, one trial, one lawsuit, or one unreleased clip can force the public to rewatch that entire career with different eyes. Some people will say the footage explains everything. Others will argue it only shows one side. And, with reports of more material possibly existing, the question becomes even bigger. How much of the story has the public actually seen? For now, all anyone can do is separate confirmed court outcomes from allegations. Watch how the narrative keeps changing, and understand that this chapter is still shaping how history remembers one of hip-hop's most powerful names.
He's talking about this. More footage is 140 hours that he has. And each episode was only maybe an hour, I think. There's 4 episodes, so there's at least 130 something more hours that he hasn't edited or, produced. And he's saying that he
put it out on YouTube, just to put it out there, like on his 50 Cent Devo page. I don't know if it'll be on his page, but he just said, he doesn't know if he's going to release it with Netflix or through Netflix. He might just, put it out on YouTube or wherever, some other platform. But the one thing that he said that was interesting is, he said, because you see people out here trying to, say, oh, the documentary can paint a narrative, this and the third. And his words were, if you see the rest of this footage, there will be no more, kind of like, you can paint this narrative. It's pretty clear cut, the things that are being said in the documentary, the things that he still can't believe Puff, because he said that a lot, like he can't believe Puff actually recorded all of it. Yeah. But I mean, so why does 50 not put that, if it's that damning and that crazy, why not put it in the doc? So I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't put it in the doc. Maybe, the stories, maybe he had more people that he would need to interview and have sit down for the documentary to kind of go through those stories that are in there. It could be a number of reasons, but the fact that he has over 100 hours of footage of, personal footage and then things like that leading up to the case, because the story is Puff felt like he was going to win the case, yeah, and that this was going to be footage for his documentary that he would have released the redemption after the court, this trial was done and things like that. So, the amount of things that he probably was recording, just going off of the fact that he felt like they were going to win the case. Yeah, and this is my footage, and these guys aren't going to put it out. Yeah, all the crazy, right, we're going to take out, right. But I mean, even I did see, who I think was the director of what Diddy was trying to do, had mentioned that he was on vacation or was out of town and had someone fill in for him. And that's the only footage that made it to the doc, because that guy sold it. So maybe that director didn't pay the person to fill in, so he owned the footage and was able to give it away. But maybe all this other footage, 50 doesn't have permission to put out. Like, okay, he can have it, but the director's like, no, this is my footage. Like, yeah, you got the other I had my man fill in for me for 3 days, and right, he has that footage now. Right, so maybe that could be it. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like 50 is so petty that if it was that crazy, he would have just put this in the doc. But who knows? I don't even want to speculate what is on the 100 hours. Yeah, after Low Rod, just keep telling me what was going on. I don't know if I want to see it visually. I mean, for 50 to say the footage that's on it.